Now, Just the Thought podcast. We are back with another one. Shout out to my co-hosts, Andre, Tion, and Tim Tech. They could not join us today, but shout out to them. We love them. We got a special guest in the building, Atticus Roness. Bro, Atlanta stand up, ATL stand up. Bro, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. Bro, I wanna talk a little bit before we get started, bro. I want to talk a little bit about your style, bro. Your style is unique. Bro, you remind me a lot of the early 2000s, the way you put your outfits together and stuff like that. Your music is unique as well, man. You have a lot of resemblance to the Lumineers and Green Day. Bro, it is a pleasure to have you on the show, man. How are you doing?
Well, you said Atlanta stand up. I'm comfy, but otherwise I would. I'm very glad to be here. In terms of the
Yeah,
style,
man.
like we could just hop right into it. Like
Yeah.
at a young age, I've been doing this almost like 10 years in different bands and stuff. And like something that I learned very early on is like, and this is kind of really even before, like, I feel like pre-COVID and post-COVID, like social media and the importance of it has really escalated in terms of like how people have to promote their stuff. And so, but even before that, I was always a big believer in like your brand and how you dress and your image is more than half the battle. And like for example, David Bowie's an influence of mine, and I mean that guy like created eras every 5 years, and like people kind of catalog certain parts of his music by what he looked like. So it's a very
I,
important part.
I
You
see a
know,
lot of David Bowie in you as well. A
I'll
lot of
take.
David Bowie.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you for
honored.
bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for
Yeah,
bringing that up.
keep it coming, keep it coming. But no, yeah. So David Bowie's a big one, and like some of the style I'm doing for this album, Power Pop World Domination, is like kind of '90s and 2000s. You're right on the money there, like '90s and early 2000s, sort of like kind of street style meets kind of flashy, but it's its own thing, I think. And so one thing I've always tried to do is like I tell people all the time, I'll follow certain artists or certain people that I don't even, some of them I don't even know the music or don't like the music or whatever, but they're so current in terms of the look and the vibe and the aesthetic that I take some of that and I put it with my music, and hopefully it comes out as something unique and different. Um, but yeah, the style is super important to me, and some people, my close friends, will laugh like, "What's the next album gonna look like?" All that stuff. But it really does. It's a big part of it, and it matters, and I think it sells to some degree. So
Yeah, man. I like how you touched upon that. I think the appearance means a lot, right? Especially in this day and age when a lot is going on. You kind of have to stick out. You kind of
yeah,
have to
definitely.
take it. You kind of have to take it to the next level. Where do you get your influence from? I know you said David Bowie, bro, but I hear a lot of other artists in your sound. Like I said, Green Day, the Lumineers, I hear as
Hmm.
well. Especially with the last track you did with Ludwig Van. I love
Yes,
that
sir.
music video, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Remind me a lot of the Lumineers. Where growing up, where did you get your sound from? Like, who influenced you growing up?
Sure, sure. So it would be going all the way back to when I was a child. Like my dad is not a musician. We don't really have musicians in the family, but he's a music lover. And I think that like there's three types of people. I think that there's musicians, there's casual, like, oh, I listen to music when it's in Target, or there's the music lover,
Yeah,
the person that they'll always preface it like, I don't know how to play, but I just love music. And those are the
right.
people I think that like if you can find those people, those are for an artist, those are some of the best ears to get to, because they're a combination of I don't really know what it is that makes me feel this way, but I really care about feeling this way, and music makes me feel that way, and they're very in tune with their feelings and what they like. And so, anyways, my dad's one of those people, and
And they're gonna give you legit feedback. They're
oh
gonna give you
yeah,
that
oh yeah,
legit feedback. They're gonna critique your music. They're gonna go
yep,
detail with it. They're gonna be very specific.
absolutely.
100% agree.
What's good about that is like, but here's the key to that is they'll give you criticism, but it's not like I think musicians will give you criticism like you should hit this note instead of this note, this chord instead of this chord. It's a little too logistical. I think the people we're talking about, they're going to be like, I don't know, there's just something about this part that I'm not feeling. You know what I mean? It's more spiritual and more emotional. And I think that kind of feedback, honestly, is more helpful in the long run in a lot of ways. But so, I mean, to me, it begins and ends with the Beatles. I know it's cliche to say, but like when I was 8 years old, 9 years old, there's something very fun about the music and sunshiny and all you need is love and very uplifting. Um, and then as I got older, I started to find, there's some darkness here, there's some psychedelia here, there's some real cries for help here, especially in John Lennon songs. And I did just never got away from me. Every time I went through a new phase, like it's funny you mentioned Green Day. I had a phase with them when I was about 15 or 16, and I go through different phases, but the Beatles are always right there. It's like my fallback. It's my trust fall. Like when I don't really know what I'm doing, or I don't really know what I want to do next, I kind of just I can just shuffle them and find something, because to me they're the only band in history that was at the same time the most popular, the most innovative, and I think the best at the same time. You'll get people who do those at different spurts, but I think for a band to be all three of those at the same time is pretty fantastic. So
Yeah,
them early
they
on.
were I 100%. They were, I don't mean to cut you off.
Mm-mm.
They were trendsetters. They were
Yeah,
trendsetters. And I even though I prefer Led Zeppelin over them,
that's okay.
they still in my book they set the trend for what rock is and for what pop is. So yeah, no, they were the trendsetters for sure.
They were
I
for
would have
sure.
to agree.
Also, first of all, you can always cut me off. This is your world. I'm just living in it. But
Ah,
secondly, saying you like Led Zeppelin over the Beatles is like saying you like LeBron James over Michael Jordan. I mean, there's really not. They're all great.
he is over
And
Michael Jordan.
I actually kind of agree with you there, but we'll have another conversation about that soon.
Yeah, that's another time.
Yeah, it's another time. I grew up playing high school ball, so we have a segment for that. But anyways, so the Beatles, and then like you said, the '70s stuff like Zeppelin and the Stones and all that stuff I love. And so there's certainly an affinity towards the eras, the '60s to the '90s for me. I think that's for me like the golden period of rock music. Um, and it's really where like I really dig my well from. I dig deep there. I listen very intently there. And of course, there's been great stuff since the '90s, and there's stuff coming out that's great now, myself not included. There's other great stuff, but you got to give yourself flowers sometimes. But no, I mean, there's some also there's so many amazing local Atlanta artists too, and so. But anyways, yeah, I would definitely say my dad raised me on that '60s through '90s stuff, and I would say that is almost always present in the music. But like you said, like I grew up listening to the Lumineers, and so there's some of that in there, which I'm kind of surprised you found, but I like that you found that.
Question. Yeah,
Yeah.
people are surprised. People are a little surprised. I'm a little. I had my little because rock for me, like I grew up a hip hop fan, right? I grew up
Mhm.
listening to hip hop, but the thing is, a lot of hip hop samples are from rock music,
That's
right?
right.
So if you're a nerd and like you were talking about people that are like music lovers, we really go deep into it. So once I started being obsessed with like samples, I started listening to rock, and I was like, okay, these are where the samples are coming from. And
Yep.
then you have those commercial songs. Growing up in the States, you have those commercial songs where you hear "I love rock and roll."
Yeah.
You hear the immigration song
Yep. Led
from the
Zeppelin.
immigrant song from Led Zeppelin, right? So like I was lucky enough to have it around me, but when I started getting like more into it, I was like, okay, Black Sabbath, okay, Led Zeppelin,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
Queen, all right. But let me ask you this question, bro, because you're talking about from the '60s to the '90s, and I agree, that's when rock was at its highest, right? If you had to give me three bands from those decades, what would the three bands be?
Oh Lord, I've had this inner monologue my whole life, so now I guess I got to
Now you
put
get
pen
to
to
tell
paper.
us because
I got to put
dude,
pencil to paper now.
that was really the high like time for like rock. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Definitely, definitely, definitely.
that's when rock was at its highest. So Yeah,
I'll say
let me find out. Let me find out.
all right. So I would say I'll put pen to paper, but I'm gonna put pencil to paper so I can erase it later if I feel like it. But
All right.
I'm gonna say right now, I'll say the Beatles are number one. I'm gonna say Queen is number two. You mentioned Queen. I think that nobody in the short period that they were doing their thing did more. I mean, they hit rock, they hit reggae, they hit pop, they hit dance, they hit disco, they hit ballroom piano music. I mean, nobody did what Queen did. In terms of my third favorite band, oh Lord, this is where it gets hard because
Bro, because you gotta before I stop you, but I'm gonna stop you. You gotta
yeah,
understand 60s to the 90s. So you got a bunch, Black Sabbath,
yeah, I know.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, YouTube.
Also, just we're on the same page. So there's somebody that I would include that I can't because it's 60s through 90s. Even though they started in the 90s, they went into the 2000s and had a good run. My honorable mention would be Radiohead because I love Radiohead, but they had a couple of their best albums in the 2000s, so I can't count that. It's okay. So, but I just wanted to put that out there. The Beatles, Queen. You know what? I might go. There's two ways I can go about this because they both kind of are parts of me that are a little different. I love the Rolling Stones because I love the harder, the grittier stuff. But I think the Beach Boys and the harmonies and like the sort of like
Mm.
I don't know if you've ever gotten into them, but I think that like later Beach Boys, especially like from 66 to 71, is some of the coolest, most psychedelic, most like transcendent harmony music of all time. So, all right, I'm hyping myself up. I'm gonna pick the Beach Boys. All right, so I put
Beach
the Beach
Boys.
Boys.
Okay.
Yeah, you really
Okay.
should do like. I mean, some of their songs are so ahead of their time. And like, it's not just about cars and surfing. Like, that's the first 2 years, but like everything else is so real and deep and meaningful. I mean, God Only Knows is one of the best songs ever.
Yeah, a lot of people think, yeah, they of course, because those are the songs that we know, right?
Mhm.
Those are the commercialized songs, but they have a lot in their bag. They do. They
They
do.
do, and it's worth digging in there.
And I'm not upset you put them in the top three. They have a catalog that goes far. I would
It's a
me if
big
I
catalog.
me
Yeah, let me hear
personally, I would
yours.
put them. Me personally, I'm gonna put them honorable mention. I like ooh. Now you got me thinking. Okay,
That's a good. That's
number
then we're
one.
doing our job.
Number one, I got Led Zeppelin. Right.
Yeah, classic.
Stairways to Heaven is one of the dopest songs. The
Ever.
Immigrant Song. Ramble On. I can keep
I
going.
love Ramble On. That's a great song. You could
Ramble
keep
On
going.
is Ramble On's fire.
That
And
bass
then I
line,
would have
that bass line is.
the yeah. As soon as it starts, like fire.
Yeah. So good.
Um, and then I would have to say Black Sabbath.
Yeah, bangers,
Black
bangers,
Sabbath for
bangers,
me
bangers.
is really good.
Yep, they're awesome.
And then my last one. This is where it gets tricky. The third one always gets
That's
tricky.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's all right.
Um, ooh, I'm gonna go Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay. What's your favorite Chili Peppers song?
Oh, I hate to be cliche, but I'm gonna say Californication.
I don't think it's cliche. I don't think it's
It's
crazy
a
to say that. It's not
it's a
crazy to
little
say that.
cliche because that's one, but that song, like, if you really listen to the lyrics, it hits home.
Yeah,
Like
it's a banger.
it's a really lyrical song, and I think I kind of remember listening to them the most. I kind of have like nostalgia listening to them, kind of. So I have to put them in number three.
Yeah, they're
You know,
great. They're great.
but shout out to Rolling Stone, shout out to the
Yeah,
Beach Boys,
yeah.
and shout out to you two and Queen,
All right.
obviously.
Yes, yeah.
Definitely,
All great in their
definitely,
own right. Somebody else's top
definitely.
four is those four.
Yeah. So I needed to know that. Let's get back into your music. So you got Ludwig van, you got Y, you got Napa Valley, Suicide.
Yes, sir.
Bro, Y is an incredible song. Ludwig van is an incredible song. Let me ask you, when it comes to your craft and when you are creating something, do you let your fans know what you are learning in the moment? Are you are you someone that's already thinking what you already have and you're just putting it out there? Are you a creator on the moment? Or are you someone that takes time with their craft?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm definitely the second one, and I'll tell you why. Because I think that there are two types of artists. There are the in the moment, we're gonna let the audience in on this, and I'm just one of you, and there's some of my favorite artists are just like that. It's kind of like this, like we're family sort of feeling, and like we're in this together, and I'm doing this as I go. I'm way too much of a control freak to do that. I have to be in charge of everything, and everything's got to be perfect. I mean, but I think the reason I'm like that is like I said, I grew up watching David Bowie and Jim Morrison from The Doors and Freddie Mercury from Queen and Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin and John Lennon and Paul McCartney from the Beatles, Mick Jagger from the Stones. It goes on and on and on. And the difference is like those guys were larger than life. You know what I mean? Those guys were mythical. Those guys were, I'm here as an artist. And you know what I'm saying? Not in terms of superiority, but in terms of like, you're paying to watch me play. Sit back and let me entertain you. You know what I'm saying? Your job is to just be entertained. And my job is to toil and work hard and whatever and enjoy the the fruits of my labor, whatever that is. But I really believe that like for me personally, it's about the work that I do in silence of getting things ready and put things together. And then I get to roll that out for the rest of the world to just kind of be consumers and they get to eat popcorn and enjoy it. And I think by doing that, it sort of adds not a mystique, but a sort of there's a legacy there. Like, you know, like what is Atticus going to do next? You know, similarly to how you think about some of those other guys. That's what I'm trying to accomplish, I think. So definitely that second one. I like to take my time. I like to work, a year in advance. Like all this stuff that's been coming out. Like we recorded these songs. We wrote these songs years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and we started recording them this time last year. So it's been a long time coming. So the album coming out April 4th is a big day. So that'll be great. By the time
Yeah,
this comes
let's
out,
go.
hopefully it's out now. So
Yeah, nah, let's go, let's go. I'm excited, and bro, like it's good. Keep your fans guessing, bro. Keep them
yep.
guessing. That's what it's about, man. People love mysterious. People love people that are mysterious, and people love that there's always creativity behind it. You know, the
Yep.
fans know that you're always gonna bring a bang every time you put out a song. That is
Hmm.
good. Keep that creativity, bro. Let me ask you this. So when it comes to your music, right? Um, what do you feel when you put out certain songs? Like what
Mm.
is the mood like? What is going through your mind when you're putting out some of your craft?
If you want the honest answer, when it's coming out, I'm very nervous as how it's going to be received. That's most of it. Or I'm also like obsessed. I hate to say, I'm obsessed with the results, and that's something that I've been trying to tame as I've been getting older and done it more. Because at the end of the day, it's about the art. It's not really about the reception. Some songs are going to do better than others, and that's just okay. So you can't. It's not like you can't really predict where it's going to go or how things are going to be, and so I've really tried to give that up, but there's going to be a piece of that. So there's always a piece of it, like kind of looking at the streams and looking at the likes, and you're kind of like, what's going on, you know? But as I've gotten older, I've really just been able to sit back and enjoy it. But I would also say there's a piece of me that finally gets to let the song go. Does that make sense? Like once it's out, like I'm kind of done with it in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like I've had the song for years. I've played the song for years. I'm gonna be playing the song for years. But you know, like the guy that wrote Why or Ludwig van was a different guy. You know, I wrote that 3 years ago. That's not the same person in a lot of ways. I still relate to the pieces of that person that I can relate to and call back to, but it's a different guy. So in a lot of ways, it's kind of like me saying, here's a piece of me that maybe you guys didn't know, and it was from an era, and I'm putting it out now, but I'm already on to the next thing. You know, we're already writing other albums already. So it's like, that's kind of where I'm always at, is just kind of looking forward. But I think the biggest feeling for sure is a sense of pride. Like, dude, we just did that shit. You know what I'm saying? We did that and we made it, and we're proud of it. And so I try and make sure that's the overwhelming feeling that I feel. But like I said, those other feelings can creep in, and it's just the job of the artist to tame those tempers a little bit. So
Yeah, man, you hone your craft, right? Like that's your baby. You wanna make sure that it's reaching the right people. You want to make sure that people are understanding how hard you worked to put out that craft as well. And
Definitely.
bro, and the thing is, man, you talk about views and like you talk about, man, I hope people are actually really paying attention, stuff like that. And I can admit, man, it's a doggy dog world out there when it comes to like, especially with what we're living in nowadays, right? Nowadays, it is getting more competitive and competitive with like views and stuff. But you know what I came to realize, bro? I came to realize if you love this shit and you know that you're creative and you know that what you're doing with your fans and you know that this is your art and you know it's your passion and nobody can take that away from you, just put it out there, bro.
Mm.
Put it out there. You know what I'm saying? And I can see it in your videos. That
Yeah,
lovely band video. I can see it,
yeah,
bro. I can see
yeah,
that this is what you want, bro. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, I'll say this really quick. I want to give a shout out to the girl who animated the Ludwig band video, Beth Leak. She's an
Fire.
animator. She's fantastic. Try and give people their flowers. Like I said, if I'm going to give myself some, I'm going to give bouquet to everybody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love your point about you. Listen, you and I we're doing this stuff, and we're promoting art, we're supporting art, and we're hopefully
Right.
creating it at some capacity, and we have to be okay with that. And then whatever else comes with it is out of our controls.
Right. Right. True. True. So let me ask you this, bro. Rock. So rock has had its time, right? You mentioned from the '60s to the '90s, where it's like the golden era of rock. Now I feel nowadays with this new rock, and thank you for people like you giving us that nostalgic feeling and trying to keep it alive. Do you think rock is kind of like becoming a lost art of because of how big it was back then and where
Sure.
it is now?
Oh, I will say that I think the golden age of it was still the 60s through the 90s. I would say I'm noticing post COVID, there is a little bit of a trend of it coming back a little bit. I wouldn't say that I think the thing that makes the 60s through the 90s so special, and it's kind of what we touched on at the beginning of this podcast, is, excuse me, like the branding of those guys early on, like the way they dressed and the way they were and the rock and roll image. Like, I think that that's a big piece that's kind of missing in an original way. I think we a lot of times see people like, dressed in flowery hippie stuff, but they work at a corporate office in reality. But it's like, the idea of like kind of dressing in a hipster way is cool, in a vintage way is cool. But what I try and do is take that, and it's obviously a reference to an older time period, but mixing it up with like modern looks as well. Um, and I wish that there was more of that, but there is still a lot of really great rock music happening. And I would say it was specifically within the last 5 years, I've seen an uptick in it. Um, and it is really cool to see. I would say that it hasn't been this good and this plentiful in a long time. I would also say I'm seeing country come back in a real way, like with real country music, like not like I don't want to shit on anybody, so I won't name any names. But there's an era of country music in the 2000s and mid
No,
2000s that we're not
you can. You mean like Luke
seeing.
Bryan? Luke Bryan's
Sure.
horrible, man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's not like fuck it. It's not like Luke Bryan's gonna see this shit. Yeah, Luke Bryan, whatever. Um, but yeah, like I feel like there's a lot of like kids my age are coming out, and like it seems like they've got a real reverence for like, because I'm a big country music fan. I'm an old country music fan, but I'm a big old country music fan. Like Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Ernest Tubb, Roger Miller, all that stuff, and like it seems like there's a reverence for that stuff again, and it's coming back. And so I think that's pretty awesome. So I would say that there is the closest we've seen to a revival is maybe happening now. I don't know, hopefully, but I like to think I'm a part of it. So
Yeah, man. I'm about to ask you this, and I don't want I want to ask you this. Why do we need Atticus?
mm.
Why does the world need Atticus?
Well, you definitely don't. You'll be fine. But if you made me answer that question, I mean, I like to think that I bring something unique to the table. I would say that I played a lot of gigs and I played a lot of gigs with other people. I don't know that I've ever heard anybody that sounds like I do. Because I think, like you said, I'm combining that like sort of raspy, almost folky Lumineers thing with a very, very retro, vintage '60s songwriting thing with like '90s production, and then I've kind of got my own vibe to my person, like as is. So there's this like kind of melding thing that happens, and so I don't know. I mean, you don't need me, but if you want good music, original music, independent music, by somebody who means it and really cares about it, then I would definitely say I'm your guy for that. Um, and like I've always told people, I'm not naive enough to think that anybody needs my music. Nobody wants me to succeed more than I do, and I'm very aware of that fact. But I think that passion, and I think originality, and I think like just a determination to want to win for yourself in this life. I think that's very attractive to people, and I think that people get inspired by that. And so, and I know I'm that way. And so, if I can inspire people by being that way, then I count it a win. So, you don't need me, but if you want to be inspired, if you like good original music, then hi.
Hey, I respect his. Hey, people, I respect his humbleness. We need that man. Don't listen to this guy.
All right,
We
all
need
right.
him. We need him. Bro, I want to say this, man. So you said you've been into music since you were a little kid, right?
Yeah.
And as an artist, I know that you have a lot of writing that you have done. You have a lot of lyrics that you have probably. Do you remember that first song that you wrote ever, and how did it go?
I do actually, and unfortunately for me, it is somewhere on YouTube. It's very unfortunate, but I can't figure out how to delete it. So it's out there somewhere, and it's called "Without You." I think I wrote it when I was like uh, 15, maybe 15, something like that. But it's not a good song at all, actually. So
Was it for a lady friend?
it was for a lady friend at the time. So, but I don't see her anymore. So she doesn't know. Everything's fine. Nobody has to know about that song, so it's all good. But it is out there, unfortunately, which is funny because a lot of people's first song is not publicly documented. So that's unfortunate for me, but it is out there. It's called "Without You." I think it's just me. I say I think. I've seen the video. I know what it is. It's me playing guitar, singing, whatever, whatever. But I
Bro,
mean,
a
it's
woman
not.
will do that to you, man. A woman will do that to you.
They will. They will indeed. It's what makes the world go round.
Yeah.
Women doing that. Women making great songs. Great songs. I don't know if you know. Real quick, side note. Um, George Harrison and Eric Clapton wrote about the same girl. They wrote two different songs about the same girl, and they're both unbelievable, both classics. One of them is "Something" by the Beatles. George Harrison wrote. And then Eric Clapton wrote Layla about George Harrison's wife that he wrote the song for. Then the wife went from George Harrison to Eric Clapton. Very messy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even know
But
that. I didn't even know
yeah, they're
that.
both classics. They're both great songs. So you're right about that assessment.
Okay, and let me ask you this. So let me talk a little bit about the album. I know the album's gonna drop on April the 4th, but let me ask you this. The album title, Power Pop World Domination. What made you come up with this title? And what can we
Yeah.
expect? What can we expect from
Um,
this album?
so I'm very much, as opposed to as very evident by how I'm dressed at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm very all or nothing, like I wake up and I'm like, we're going to do this thing. We're going to do it. And, because to me, there's no, especially not in this profession, like you have to be kind of crazy to do it. You have to be kind of delusional, and all your money and time and effort and sacrifice goes into it. And so you got to be all in. So my debut solo album is called Square One, and it's like a humble, like acoustic record. And it was kind of me trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and that's out everywhere. But Square One is extremely like like raw and stripped down and kind of sad in a way and kind of melancholy and I was like, well, what's the exact opposite of that? Like, what's the exact opposite thing I can do? And so I was like, let's do this like power pop music that I love, the Beatles, Cheap Trick, all of the stuff we mentioned earlier in the podcast. Like, let's just like make a record that sounds like that, but modernize maybe and do my own twist on it. And so I do my best thinking when I'm not thinking at all, if that makes sense. Like when stuff just kind of comes to you and you're not harping on it. Like too many people are like, all right, what's the name of this album gonna be? I didn't do that. I just I just sat around and like you mentioned humble, which I appreciate that you think that of me because a lot of people think because I'm naming my album Power Pop World Domination, that's not the first word they would use to describe me. But um I was just like hanging out with like my band and I was like just thinking like it would be hilarious to name it Power Pop World Domination because obviously I'm an independent regional artist doing my own booking, doing my own managing. But yeah, we're gonna dominate the world with this album. So I don't know. There's a bit of wishful thinking, a bit of delusion there. And I was playing a gig last night, and we were doing this big writers circle, and everybody had these deep meanings to their songs, and I was like, most of the time, guys, I just like the way words sound together. Some words sound good together, and some words don't. And some of it has meaning, some of it doesn't. And power pop world domination means absolutely nothing. But I love the way that it sounds, and I think it also kind of gives. I will say what you say. What can we expect? It gives an expectation that it's going to be a grand, it's going to be an epic thing, and I do think it's that. I think it's awesome. I think it's big. I think it's the exact opposite of the last album I did. I think that there's soaring guitars and harmonies and big arrangements, and so I think it lives up to the name in that regard. But yeah, it's just kind of a cheeky, kind of campy way for me to say I'm coming. So I'm here. Or I don't think I've ever. I hope I don't ever think I've arrived fully because then I start like losing that edge. But you know, I do think with this album, we're one step closer to being there. So
Yeah, man. Yeah. We're gonna look out for it. April 4th that
April
drops.
4th.
World
Yep.
Power Pop World Domination, man. We looking
Yes, sir.
forward to it. Bro, let me ask you this, man. All right, so you did multiple gigs. You played in front of multiple people. What is one of the most memorable places you played that just hit home for you? You're like, you know what, this is for me. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Mm.
What was the most memorable gig you played at?
Well, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I've been in different bands. I'll go through each band. My first band, I would say the most memorable gig was because we were still in high school when we were in that band, and so like there's nothing cooler than being in a band in high school where all your friends know, and it's just a cool thing to be a part of. And so me and my bandmates, we all went to the same school, and they had hired us to play the school dance. And when you're in high school, school dance is like a big deal. So we played in front of like every kid, 500 people. That was a big one. And then I just remember thinking that was awesome, and we got a lot of clout and hype from it, so that was cool. And then the next band I was in featured. So that first band was me, my brother, and a childhood friend. And then the next album, or the next band was just me and my brother. We would hire people to play, but it was just my brother and I. And that was called the Corduroy Blue. And with that one, oh, I mean, we played some of our. That one was we got to do that one for longer than I've been solo. So we got to play some amazing gigs with that band. I would say the biggest one was probably our last one. We did a big last show, and we sold it out, and um, just everything was perfect about that night. I mean, there was hundreds of people there, and everybody knew every word to every song, which is a crazy thing for an original writer to feel. Like it's one thing if you're singing a cover and everybody knows, but for 500 people to be singing your lyrics is kind of an amazing feeling. Um, and
Yeah, that's
so
dope.
it was unbelievable. So having that and just having that moment with my brother, we did a bow together. It was our last time really playing live together. And him and I are super close still, but just different paths in life that we want to take. And now being a solo artist, because my first album was acoustic, the vibe was completely different. So like I didn't get to play as many of those big everybody shouting your name, shows. And also the reason I named that album Square One is because it felt like after the breakup of my brother and I's band, it felt like I was starting at the beginning again, starting
Was
from
there was,
scratch.
was there any tension between you and your brother after that?
I mean, there was maybe a little more, not tension's not the right word, but yeah, tension may be the right word actually. Like there was tension gearing towards the end of the band, which is why we had to break it up because him and I's relationship is too important. I would say the band itself was bringing about some tension, and so that's one of the reasons the band had to end, is because I love my brother too much to let that get in the way. Um, and it was just about, like I think that him and I are both dreamers, and him and I, in that band, I was the writer, I was the singer, I was the songwriter, I did all the booking. I was kind of the brains behind it. Him and I were the brand together. But I think my brother is a go-getter, and I think my brother doesn't want to be in the shadow of anybody. I think my brother doesn't want to like be second fiddle. I don't think it wasn't like he was like he doesn't really want to be in music anyways. It was like he didn't want to. He wanted to do his own dream. You know what I mean? Um, he wanted to pursue his own thing. So he's an actor. He was in a movie with Anne Hathaway a couple of years ago. Um, so he's really killing it in his own right. His name's Luke Pierre Roness. But anyways, it was. I think that struggle of him wanting to be with me in my band, but also wanting to do his own thing, and I think the second thing kind of gave way. But anyways, that was really hard for me because I put a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort into that band, and to have it all thrown away. It also was it was a good life lesson to show. No matter how much control you think you have of something, it can still fall apart. And so it's been a
Mm.
really good lesson for me as a solo artist to. It was the best lesson because now as a solo artist, anytime I catch myself being too controlling, I just let go because like not every little detail you can predict, you can't predict. And so it's been a lot more fun, honestly, being a solo artist because I've been a lot more chill about the whole thing and just letting things happen and taking things as they come and working hard still, but it's a different thing. But um, I say all that to say when I became a solo artist, I played a lot of acoustic gigs, and I toured a lot because playing acoustic is really easy. I could just go out there, me and my guitar, and go wherever. So I put out that album not thinking anybody would care about it. I didn't promote it that well or that much, and it ended up being the album I've gotten to tour the most of any album that I've done. I went to different cities, different states, all across the Southeast with that Square One album, and I would say the most fulfilling thing for me was not necessarily one gig, but like getting to tour, myself, getting to see the open road, getting to try new lunch spots, getting to try new dinner spots, getting to, go to record stores in different states and different places. And it was like meditation in a lot of ways. And then I would get to the gig, meet new people, play for sometimes 5 people, sometimes 200 people. Certain people knew my music, certain people didn't. Um, but it was just like that whole experience was really cool and getting to be a part of something bigger than myself. And so I would honestly say those acoustic shows were really important to me, and formative. And I play with a band, and especially with the Power Pop World Domination, me and my band have gotten to play some amazing shows. As we're talking today, we're about to go play a really big one in Athens. That's why I'm wearing this, Athens, Georgia. But yeah, I would say those acoustic gigs and getting to tour all that much was very, very formative for me. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer, but
Oh no, man, no, bro, it's all good, man. I appreciate that, man. Okay, and let me ask you this because we all go through a dark time in our life, right? What was one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome in your life, and how did you get through it?
well, I mean, I think it's not even like I've been fortunate enough. I've got a great family. I've got great friends. I've been very fortunate to not have to go through anything super. Like I know a lot of people really, really go through hard traumas and tragedies, and so I'm grateful and I count myself blessed that I haven't had to go through that. So I would never want to like pretend that I'm going through something that I'm not. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, a big thing for me was from about 2022 till 2024, I wouldn't say I had an alcohol problem, but I was on the road a lot. I was drinking a lot, not doing those things together. That's illegal. But, I was, I was, doing the rock and roll thing, and I was just out a lot, and I was home a lot, and just started to have an affinity for that. And I'm 11 months sober. By the time this comes out, I might be closer to a year. And that's been a challenge. You know what I'm saying? That's been something that I've wanted to do because I realize my career means too much, and what alcohol does, it just kind of numbs you. And everybody has a different relationship to alcohol, but for me personally, I just couldn't have a last drink, if that makes sense. It was like, and it was never enough. And so, for me to get sober was to say I'm putting my career first. I want to be able to like be dependable. I want to be able to get home from the gig. I want to be able to like have people that can count on me. And I'm not stuck wherever I am. I want to be able to like, remember the gigs I'm playing, really feel it, really connect with the audience, because I was playing great gigs, but I was numb to it. You know what I'm saying? I was numb to the whole thing, and I wasn't thinking too much about it. And that's another reason I like this idea of power pop world domination. Is like I'm really coming out on top. I'm nearly a year sober. I think in a lot of ways I'm the best version of myself, and getting to have an album like this so grand and epic to celebrate that is really cool. But I would say, if you're asking me that question, that's been a challenge, and it's been hard, and it's been easy at times. And, I would never say I was like an alcoholic, because I don't want to take away from people's struggles of like a decade plus with that sort of thing. Like some people really have a chemical addiction to it. I don't think that was where I was at, because it was really only about a year and a half, 2 years. But I call it like my 2-year bender, where I was just having fun, but I think it could have gotten away from me. And too many people in life learn the hard way. And I'm grateful that I got to learn the easy way. I didn't lose many friendships. I didn't lose a lot. I've been able to maintain a lot of that. I just kind of took it upon myself to say, you know what, let's buckle in, let's become a better version of myself. And it takes a lot of, I'm very proud of myself, because that takes a lot of self-awareness to say, like, I haven't messed up yet, and my life's not too far gone, or I haven't really gone off the deep end in this regard, but you still have a shot to make sure that doesn't happen before you have to change it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was something. And getting to make this album sober was awesome too, because square one, I was not when I made that album. And some of it might have helped that album, because it is a sad, depressing album. So I think maybe that helped it. But that's the time and a season. With this album, I got my 18 coffees that I need to get through the day and make what I think is my best album. So
Jesus, 18 coffees, man.
maybe not that much, but I do
Hey,
drink a lot
man.
of coffee.
Yeah, damn. Bro, shout out to sobriety, man. Shout out to yourself. I know you saying that a lot of people go through a lot of things, and they can't fight it, bro. But the fact that you caught it is great. You
Yep.
stopped what you were doing, and you caught it just in time before it was even gonna get even worse, bro. So shout out to you for even doing that, bro. For real.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about consistency, bro. How do you stay consistent? Being a solo artist now and kind of putting your own craft out there, doing all of your own work, putting all your content out there and all your music on social media. How do you stay consistent in the competitive world now, bro?
Yeah, it's really tough. I would just say, like I said before, I think the thing that keeps people inconsistent is chasing the numbers, the views, the likes, the streams. That's what creates inconsistency. It really does. And it also creates like jealousy. It creates a whole bunch of very negative things inside of a person. So for me to stay consistent is just to look ahead and say, all right, I got these songs. I want to make these songs. I want to promote these songs. And then repeat. I'm going to write these songs. I'm going to create these songs. I'm going to promote these songs. Repeat. You just keep doing that with new records and new projects, and make them fun, make them different, make them unique. And in that uniqueness of the craft, I think there's consistency, because I think one thing that hurts a lot of artists is one song will get pretty popular. You mentioned Napa Valley Suicide earlier, because that's not on this album. That was like a single I did in between the two albums. But it took me 30 minutes to make that song. It took me 10 minutes to write that song. It was like a random thing, and we did that song in one take in the studio. And it's my highest streaming song. Like, you can't make that up, you know? So like, and one thing that would be against my probably better judgment is to try and recreate that, because that's what made that song popular in the first place, is that it came out of left field, that it was kind of something different, that it was birthed out of like spontaneity, out of something unique. If I tried to chase that again, I think that's where inconsistency starts to creep in, by trying to recreate something. I think consistency in an artist is not being comfortable. I think it's pushing yourself and doing new things, and I think that being consistent about being unique is really important. And I think it keeps you on your toes, and it's what keeps you from not burning out. It keeps you from not getting bored, from getting tired, from getting beaten down. So I think in a lot of ways, it's funny. Consistency kind of is intertwined with like spontaneity and uniqueness. At least for me, I find that's when I'm at my most consistent. Doing my thing is when it's new and fresh to me all the time. So I think that's really important.
I appreciate you for sharing that, bro. Let me ask you this, bro. You love fashion, right? I can see the glasses, I can see the jumper. And in your videos, you can show you can tell that you have that nostalgic look to you, and also a lot of it's coming back. So
Yes.
how much is fashion to you? What does fashion mean to you?
Like I said before, you know, when I'm more popular, I have more money, I'd love to go to the fashion weeks. I love that kind of stuff. I think that kind of stuff's really cool and artsy and interesting, and everybody's got their thing. Some people like books, you know. I love movies, I love music, and I love fashion. I really do. And I think that, but for me, like, I'm a big secondhand guy, thrift store guy. Like, that's where I get all my stuff. And I think that that's the coolest thing, is to be able to take somebody's something that they didn't want and make an awesome wardrobe out of it. Everything you see and everything I wear, none of that's designer. I mean, that's all from thrift stores, you know. And so I think that's a really cool statement to make. Like, here I am taking something that somebody didn't want, and I'm out here making a brand and career out of it, you know. So that's been a passion of mine for sure. But I think that, like, for me, I'm such a to me, music is such a visual meets sonic medium, that if it's always been my biggest criticism of local artists, younger artists that I talk to, because I try and be a mentor to some people. I mean, I'm still pretty young, but I mean, I've been doing it since I was 16, so I've got some experience. And like, I tell people, like, you've got to kind of come up with a look. You've got to have a look. You've got to have something that people can be like, oh, that's that guy, or that reminds me. The amount of times I get sent something from people I know or don't know, like, I don't even, some of them I don't like. They'll be like, this reminds me of you, you know, because I have a look, I have a brand, I have a identity visually, that people, it sticks with them, obviously, the same way that the melodies do. And I think that that's when you create a memorable artist within yourself. So fashion is super important, and one size certainly does not fit all, literally and figuratively. So, you know, you've kind of got to find what works for you, find the people that you're inspired by. And I change my style per each album. Like, if you go back to the square one stuff, like if you watch the video for the single So What, it's much more muted. It's like I'm wearing this like beige collared shirt, beige pants, like a kind of one suit thing. And it's a lot more understated and a lot more kind of grassroots. With this, it's anything but that. And the next album, we'll see what happens. So,
Yeah, man, keep them guessing. Let me ask you this. What decade has the best fashion, and what decade has the worst fashion?
oh, I would say the 2000s has the worst fashion. Like, that was before things were getting nostalgic. So, like, I would say the mid, not 2000, like 3 or 4. I would say 2000, like, I'd say like 2011 to like 2015. I
Yeah,
feel like we
yes.
didn't really know
Okay.
what we were doing. We didn't know what we were doing. You know what I'm saying? I love early 2000s, and I like what's happening now. I think a lot of people are dressing awesome right now. Um, but I would say, yeah, that mid, like almost like 2008 to 2016 or something. Like I don't feel like people really knew what they wanted to do. Because I think again, what's happening now is we're kind of all dressing a little nostalgic because of the internet. We're looking back and we're seeing how cool people used to look, and we're trying to recreate that. 2008 to 2016 was like the internet was popular, social media was popular, but not like it is now. Um, and so, but to me, honestly, what's funny, I would say, I know I mentioned the 60s through 90s, but that's like picking my kids from what I think is the coolest fashion. But the fashion I'm going for right now is extremely 90s. So I guess I have to say that. I'll say the 90s right now. Like that britpop, like Oasis, Blur, like a lot of those pop stars, that like that 90s look is what I'm going for right now. So
Yeah, I would say the 90s or the 70s.
yeah,
Um 70s has I like the bell bottom jeans a lot.
me too, me too, me
Um
too.
but the 90s is the baggy. Nobody beats baggy. It was more rugged. I kind of like that look.
Me
And
too. I think the
I
90s
like
was,
how it's coming back.
yeah, I think the 90s was the most diverse. Like I think like I feel like every decade kind of had the look. I feel like 90s had like three or four awesome looks, which is pretty cool.
Go. I know you said you're a thrift shop guy. Nothing's wrong with that. Don't tell the secrets though. They don't know about that. Let
No, I
them
can't
keep
tell them where
going
I get it
to
from.
let
Yeah,
them let them keep
wherever
doing
you
the
go,
designing.
go to your Goodwill. That's
Um,
fine.
if you had to pick, give me your top three best brands.
Oh Lord.
Now think. There's a lot. Think about that.
Yeah, they're okay. Right now, I'm going with what I'm wearing right now a lot. Adidas is number one. I'm wearing everything Adidas, like the shoes, the jumpers, the jumpsuits. Everything's been 90s Adidas. Um, I mean, I'll be honest with you, dude. Like I said, like besides, like Adidas is the only place right now I'm going to buy stuff that I need specifically for a brand. Does that make sense? Like everything else is all third hand. Like, oh, that's a cool. I mean, I like Champion. I guess I'll put them in there. I feel like Champion does some cool stuff. Um, and I don't know. We'll put Reebok. Those are my three right now. I think they're kind of like old head type vibe, but they're almost like cool in a way. Um, but really, in reality, like I don't shop brand. Like I really like find a piece I like, and it could be some from some no name company, and it's the perfect match for what I'm going for. But I guess if you made me choose, I would say Adidas, Champion, Reebok, just because there's like almost there's like a silliness about it that also makes it kind of hard. Like, does that make sense? Like, there's something about that, like those brands in particular, like Reebok especially, um, that like it's kind of like somebody's dad would wear it, and that's why it looks awesome. But you know that kind of vibe.
All right, and let me ask you this: greatest shoe of all time, greatest sneaker of all time.
Oh, let's see.
If you your
Uh,
go to pair, like greatest sneaker of all time.
well, I'll go basketball shoes since we were talking basketball because when I played basketball, I loved. I really liked KDs and Kyries. Those are my favorite shoe. Um, I probably have to say KDs. I wore KDs all the time, and it would have been early like KD twos or something like KD threes. I don't know. Like early KDs. I loved that shoe. If I ever go to a thrift store and I find them, I buy them immediately because I mean that's just like nostalgic for me, and it's what I like to hoop in. But I mean, I love Converse in terms of just regular shoe. I love Converse. I love the Adidas Sambas. Anything with the stripe, it's got my name on it. Um, Not a big Vans guy personally. No disrespect to anybody that is. It's just
No,
not my.
not
It's not
Van.
my.
No, Vans is played out.
It's not
Yeah.
my bag. Yeah,
You know when you were saying 2008 to 2016,
that's
that was the Van
Vans.
era. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I could have skipped that part. That's fine by me. Kyrie twos. I really liked my Kyrie twos, so I had those. But yeah, that's the basketball shoe part. I wanted to get basketball back in there at some point. But uh, yeah, man, those are definitely Adidas. Right now, I'm rocking heavy there right now. Any Adidas shoe I can find with the stripes on them.
Oh yeah, the classic Adidas shell tops. I can speak for everybody that is a classic shoe.
Yeah, they're
Adidas
fantastic.
is definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So before we let you go, brother, I want to do a segment called Just Thoughts. All right.
Okay.
So
I've
what we're
got
gonna
plenty of
do is,
those.
yeah. Well, it's good. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna ask you. You're gonna get two options. You either pick one or the other. All right. And I'm just gonna throw them
Okay.
at you. All right.
All right.
All right. Let's go. Loyalty or honesty?
Honesty. Honesty, I think. You want me to explain why I said it, or you just want to keep going?
Why? Why?
Because honestly, I think even if we don't know each other, I respect the honesty. We don't have to be loyal to each other, but just keep it straight. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, loyalty does matter to me. But if you want to depart, or you want to, for some reason we're not vibing anymore, I'd rather you be honest about that than pretend to be loyal, or be loyal and then not tell me how you're really feeling. You know what I mean? So honesty for me, honesty is key in life.
Heartbreaker or heartbroken?
Oh. Both of them. Well, being heartbroken sucks. So let's be the heartbreaker today.
The heartbreaker. Ooh, Doritos. The red bag. The red bag of
Okay.
Doritos or the blue bag of Doritos? Cool Ranch.
Well, if you're asking me between the two of them, I'm probably gonna go the red bag. But honestly, the purple bag beats both of them. The spicy
The
nacho beats
purple
both of them.
bag beats both of them?
Purple bag clears, bro. Clears. Absolutely clears. Try. Yeah, I
Wow.
don't know how long it's been since you've had a purple bag of Doritos, but me and my bandmates, that's like our death Romeo, bro.
Wow. Okay, that's okay. That caught me. That caught me. Being loved or being respected.
Um, ooh, that's a good one. Um, being loved. I'd like to sit here and be hard, like I just want to be respected, but I mean, you don't have to. I mean, I also do feel like love doesn't come without respect, so that's kind of hard to say. Um, but like, I don't know. Now that you got me thinking about it, I rather somebody be like, if they don't know me, like, oh, I love that guy, or like, I respect that guy. Because I believe true love doesn't come without respect. In your scenario, I'm gonna say respect.
Respect.
Yeah.
Misunderstood or misunderstood or what was it? Misunderstood or mis misunderstood or not heard.
So say that last part again. It cut out right when you said it.
Misunderstood or not being heard.
Interesting. I feel like they're kind of similar in my mind, but also I'm definitely heard. I'm loud as hell. So I'll say I'm misunderstood. I do think that to some degree. I think I'm misunderstood by
Misunderstood. Okay.
some people that don't know me. I think I'm misunderstood.
Happy songs or sad songs?
Oh, good lord. Uh, I just like good songs, man. There's happy and sad in both. But if you made me choose, sad would get me down too much. So I'll go happy. But I love me a good sad song. But I like good songs, but happy songs.
Happy songs. All right. Creativity or knowledge?
Oh, creativity. Knowledge. A lot of people are just alone with their knowledge. Creativity brings people together.
Okay. Living in the moment or planning for the future?
As much as I said I plan for my albums, I definitely live in the moment. I'm a live in the moment type of guy. I can't plan for the future, no doubt. I don't even really worry about the future that much, to be honest. I plan my albums, but I don't worry about it too much. So I definitely live in the moment type guy.
Ooh. Education or experience?
Oh, experience every day of the week, twice on Sunday. I didn't graduate college, and I learned more from the years that I didn't go than the years that I did. Not
Bro,
saying you
I didn't.
shouldn't go if you're
Yeah, I
listening.
didn't know. I didn't learn shit, but yeah, you should go for the experience.
If you want to go, here's the thing. I would say, if you don't know what you want to do, because I'm passionate about this subject, I'll go on a tangent. If you don't know what you want to do, go to college. If you do know what you want to do, and it has something to do with being a doctor, engineer, lawyer, something like that, go to college.
Go
But
to
if you know
college.
what you want to
Exactly.
do, if you know what you want to do, and it's something creative and it's out of the box, don't waste your money. Don't do that.
Right.
So,
100% agree. Okay. Inner peace or world peace.
well, here's what I'll say about that. Because I can't just snap my fingers and have world peace, I can't snap my fingers and have inner peace either. But I would say if everybody said inner peace, we'd have world peace. So I think that more people should take my cue and say inner peace. And if everybody
Inner
did
peace.
that, if everybody did that, you wouldn't have asked that question because we'd have world peace.
I like how you flipped the script there. All right. Self respect or love.
Love like for myself or love for somebody else, you mean?
Love for someone else.
Oh, self-respect, self-respect. Gotta have the self-respect. I don't always have it all the time. I chase people that I probably deserve better than, but I think that's what has been nice about getting sober is realizing and kind of tapping into that self-respect and just enjoying that and being with myself and learning to love myself and enjoying my company. So self-respect.
Freedom or stability.
Oh, well, some people would argue that stability gives you freedom, but uh, I think I assume what you mean is freedom, like basically my life right now, because I don't have like I work, but it's not like a stable 9 to 5 salary, all that stuff. You'd have to kill me before I did that, before chasing my dream. So freedom for sure.
Okay. Freedom. I like that one. I like that one. Forgiveness or vindictive.
Oh, I'm a forgive guy to a point. Unfortunately, I forgive people that maybe I shouldn't, uh, or
Mm,
or give them too many chances. So I'm a forgive guy at my core, and I don't want to change that about myself. I just need to be more selective. You know what I mean?
here's the serious one. Imagine there's a cake, brownie. Let's go with brownie. Imagine there's a brownie. The
All right,
brownie
my
comes out of
appetite,
the.
I'm into that now. I wasn't a cake
Okay,
guy, but
okay.
now I'm into
All
it.
right, brownie. All right. So imagine it's a brownie. The brownie comes out of the oven. Are you taking the middle or are you taking the corner piece?
Corner right now. Give me that right now. Corner.
I respect that. I respect
Yeah,
that.
I
And here's
need that.
another
I
one.
need I need that crispy edge, bro.
You need that crispy edge. I respect that. Here's another one. When it comes to Pop Tarts, are we going with
Got me
strawberry?
thinking,
Are we going with strawberry or are we going with the cinnamon Pop Tart?
dude. That's the best question you've asked me all day. Strawberry. I'm a fruit guy. Like I like chocolate stuff, but I really like. So when it comes to Pop Tarts, I mean, I like the chocolate ones. I like anything. I'm a foodie, but strawberry for sure. Strawberry for sure.
Thank you, bro. Strawberry, for those that are listening, because I had some people go against me saying that the cinnamon one was the best one, but the strawberry out of the microwave,
Dude, different.
I'm a
I'll, dude,
microwave guy. I know people do the toaster, but I'm a microwave guy. Out of the microwave is unmatched. Unmatched.
I'll have microwave toaster. I'll eat it cold. I'll eat it if it's been in your car for 3 days. As long as it's not open, I don't care. The strawberry one.
Strawberry one. All right. All right. So before we get out of here, yo, we always like to end on a good note, man. I'm going to ask you this, brother. If you can give a word of wisdom or a message of wisdom to somebody that is trying to be consistent, an artist that is trying to continue with their craft, continue to keep going, but needs the motivation, what would you tell that person?
I would say give up. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I would say just chase your dream. And if you're good at it and you're honest with yourself and you know that you're good enough and you know that you want it, then just do it. Life is way too short not to do it. The amount of people that I have heard that are not even jealous of me particularly, but just jealous of the fact that I'm pursuing what I love. I've met guys with money that would make my head spin that say they're jealous of the life that I live because they didn't do what they wanted to do. They have all this money, they don't even know what to use it on. Everybody else just takes from them. They work to keep it alive. I mean, they're like a leash that people take from. And, I'm not saying that rich people are all that way. I'm just saying, with my personal experience with people that I've talked to, they all are envious of the dream chaser. And so be that dream chaser. You know what I'm saying? Give it all up. Give up everything you have to chase the dream, and work extra hours of work so you can pay for this. There should be no excuse. You know what I'm saying? Like, there should be no excuse. And so just to chase it, enjoy it. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about the views. Wake up every day and be excited about it. Do something to help your career. Write a song, send an email. Just do something to keep your spirits up and to keep the dream alive, because I promise you it's worth it. So that's my message.
No excuses, mother. Now it's playing.
Not for
Man,
real,
yo. Yeah, man. Yo. Hey, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's show. Atticus Roness, Power Pop World Domination, dropping April the 4th. Y'all stay tuned. Just a Thought Podcast. We are out. Yeah. Okay, man.
Bro,
Okay.
Great time.
Bro, this is fantastic, man. Dude, this is fantastic. Yeah, bro, I did, man. Yeah, bro. I want to say thank you so much. Paul, let me end